Every NFL fan knows this story. Tom Brady, the GOAT, pick number 199. It's so absurd it stopped being a sports fact and became a motivational quote. But here's the question nobody asks. Is Brady the exception or is he the rule? Every year, the NFL draft works like this. 32 teams, one for each franchise, take turns choosing the best college football players in the US. The first pick belongs to the worst team of the previous season. In theory, that means pick number 1 should always be the best player available, the crown jewel of the class, the chosen one. But is that actually true? That's the question we're here to answer. Season by season, pick by pick. Covering every single year of the Super Bowl era, from 1967 all the way to today. And we need one fair judge to do it, one number. The same for every player, every position, every era. Career V, Approximate Value. Developed by the experts at Pro Football Reference, it captures a player's total impact across their entire career in a single score. Let us compare a quarterback from the 2000s to a defensive tackle from the 60s on equal footing. Think of it as a player's lifetime score in the history of the game. The higher the AV, the closer they are to being the real chosen one. So, our search begins, and it begins in 1967. 1967 is a landmark year. For the first time, the NFL and AFL, the two rival leagues that had spent years fighting each other for talent, held a single, unified draft. One draft, every team, best player available. The Baltimore Colts hold the number 1 pick. They want a monster, and they get one. 6'7", 265 pounds. Bubba Smith was a wall of a human being, a Super Bowl champion, a dominant force, an icon so big he eventually crossed over into Hollywood. By any normal measure, a massive success. But our search goes deeper than normal measures. Because while Baltimore celebrated their giant, Minnesota was quietly waiting at pick 15. They selected a defensive tackle out of Notre Dame. His name was Alan Page. 144 versus 69. That's a huge gap. Page played 15 seasons, made 9 Pro Bowls. In 1971, he did something no defensive player had ever done. He won the NFL MVP. He reached 4 Super Bowls. Then he traded his cleats for a robe and served 22 years as a justice of the Minnesota Supreme Court. In the very first year of the unified draft, the real jewel wasn't at the top of the board. He was hitting 14 spots lower. 1968. Minnesota is back at the top for the second year in a row. They want a foundation, a wall. They pick Yary out of USC. 14 seasons, 4 Super Bowls. The gold standard of pass protection. A Hall of Famer by every measure. And here's the twist our search didn't see coming. In 1968, the scouts actually nailed it. But even then when they do, the shadows of the draft are always lurking. Because in round 2, at pick 52, the Oakland Raiders found a rebel out of Alabama, a left-handed quarterback with a nickname that would haunt defenses for a decade. They call him the Snake. 93 versus 104. Yary wins. The wall beats the snake. Minnesota found a Hall of Famer at number 1, and this time he really was the best player in the draft. But Oakland found a legend at pick 52, a dynasty quarterback, a Super Bowl champion, a steal by any definition. Greatness is everywhere in this draft. You just have to know where to look. 1969. The year man walked on the moon, and the NFL was about to have its own giant leap. The Buffalo Bills hold number 1, and there's only one name on their board: O.J. Simpson, the Juice. In 1973, O.J. Simpson rushed for 2,003 yards in just 14 games. He was electric, untouchable, a global icon on and off the field. But while Buffalo had the juice, Pittsburgh was building something else entirely. 3 picks later, just 3, the Steelers took a defensive tackle who would become the cornerstone of the greatest defense in NFL history: Mean Joe Green. 109 versus 98. Green wins. The steel curtain beats the Juice. But our search isn't done yet. Hitting in round 2 at pick 33, the Baltimore Colts found a linebacker out of Miami. 6'7", long arms, impossible to block. They called him the Stork. His name was Ted Hendricks. 112, the highest number in this entire draft. The Stork beats Mean Joe. The Stork beats the Juice. The real gem of the 1969 class found at pick 33. The Juice gave you highlights. Mean Joe gave you championships. The Stork gave you both and outlasted them all. 3 years, 3 drafts, 3 stories, and 3 very different endings. But this search was never just about statistics. Look at the 2 polls of this decade. 1967, the Hidden Titan found at pick 15. Alan Page doesn't just become an NFL MVP. He becomes a symbol of what a man can be after football. 22 years on the Minnesota Supreme Court. Integrity, law, legacy. Then, look at 1969. The chosen one at pick number 1, O.J. Simpson. A man whose football greatness was eventually swallowed entirely by the trial of the century. A name that now carries more courtroom weight than any record he ever set. The justice and the defendant. Both products of the same 3 years of drafts. Both prove that what a number 1 pick becomes on and off the field is never quite what anyone expected. The 60s were just the opening chapter. The 70s are where the draft gets truly ruthless, and the real gems get even harder to find. I'm Victor Francisco for the Global Sideline. The search continues on the next video.